Olusosun is sited at Ojota, near the toll gate. It's about 41 hectares of land acquired by the state government. It was originally an excavated area for laterite when construction of some road were going on, maybe I think Third Mainland Bridge and Ibadan Express Road. It was used, that was an excavated area, and the state government looked at it. That time when it was identified, there was no too much urbanization in that area. So it was designed that the state government can use it and reclaim that land by putting waste into it. So it was not designed originally as a landfill. It was an excavated portion of land where laterite was mined for a long time. And I was told that used to be a training site for shooting range for the military in the past. So that's all I know about the origin of Olusosun. From the information reaching us through the Visionscape or Cleaner Lagos program, we were told right now that Lagos is generating close to between 13 to 14,000. Oh, you see, we are far, far, far below what is expected. In the other clime, waste management from its generation to disposal system has become what is known as big investment opportunity. And again, the smart city that they are talking about, the waste management has its own area that makes a city to be called a smart city. And I'll give you an example. I don't see anything wrong in that Olusosun, even though it's an open dump site, being turned into smart city, green city, energy city. What we just need to do is to close it down properly, measure the amount of gas that is beneath based on the level of waste being dumped in that area. And I remember they said they've landfilled over 40 million metric tons of waste since inception. I give you an example. A 1 million metric ton of waste landfill in a place can generate nothing less than 800 kilowatts of electricity through the gas that will be coming out, 1 million tons. If 1 million tons of waste is being landfilled in a place and is properly concealed and you are able to tap the gas, you can generate nothing less than 800 megawatts stroke 1 megawatt from that 1 million tons of waste. Now compare 40 million tons of waste. Let's calculate how many megawatts of electricity we generate from there. So that Olusosun now could be converted to energy generation system. What I mean by that is that we will cover that place with the right soil blanket. We'll put green there. We'll do vegetation. Then we will now drill our pipe, that is gas venting pipe and gas collection pipe, so that we can now collect the gas, treat the gas, and use it to power a gas turbine generating plant, which can, instead of the state government saying they are using 12 billion annually to power street light, that place can be used to power the entire electricity the street light in Lagos. And that's one of the smart city projects we are talking about. From my own professional advice to Lagos State government, one, Lagos State government has no more land that is visible for landfilling. And what I mean by that is visible for landfilling, that is appropriate for landfilling, because of the urbanization and because of the distance of the generation source to where they said they want to go inside the landfill. It will not be profitable. Why don't Lagos State start looking into waste to energy within the city? Those areas like the Marine incinerator site, incinerating plant, Iluberin, and all other areas, they don't need more than 2 plots or 3 plots of land within the city to be able to construct waste to energy plants. And the waste will be arriving will be treated within the city and be transformed to another form of use, which is energy generation. So if I want to advise the state, the issue of taking waste to Uwelepe and Epe is another problem being created by solving another problem. Now, on a more serious note, it's a billion. It's going to run into billion. It's not easy. And I'll give you an example. The entire area of that Olusosun site is about 41 hectares, filled with waste, naked waste. Now, imagine you need to put on about 5 centimeters of soil blanket, laterite, to cover that area. Do you know how many trucks that will be? First, calculate how much did they sell a truckload of laterite. Maybe 15,000 or 18,000 naira, just one truck. So imagine the number of trucks that will be used to fill those naked waste first. Then there's one thing we call HDPE liner, which you have to now spread on top to prevent more rain from going inside. Because you have to first line it with HDPE liner, then put the soil blanket. Then because now you have contained the gas and you have contained the naked waste from burning. Because what happened that day, nobody set it on fire. It was an auto ignition that happened. We have high temperature that day. We've been experiencing high temperature, and again, in the presence of heavy sunlight and a smooth surface, there is bound to be an ignition. And there is present in the presence of gas. What do you have? Explosion. So that was what happened there. So that's the problem we are having right now. That in closing it down properly, I would just advise them not to just close it down and say they want to turn it to what they said they want to turn it to, and that was, what did they say, recreational park or green park. They should use it to generate more energy, and that will reduce the cost they spend in power our street light. So it's going to be a highly capital, but if we do it, I think it's going to run into billion. EIA is for a project that is about to commence. This one now we have to talk of post-impact assessment of the Olusosun Dumpsite. And what do we mean by post-impact? What are the environmental impact, health, environmental impact, and safety impact of Olusosun? That's what we can talk about. The environmental impact include that heavy burning that you saw, obnoxious smell. During rainy season, more of underground water will be polluted because more water will have contact with the naked waste, and it will attenuate and go to all the underground water. Then the health risk is that people who drink the water, you understand? Because the waste are not treated. So those are the things we have to now look into, health implication and environmental implication of the Olusosun Dumpsite. It's a good one, but it will create another problem, which I think they should now prepare for, because the turnaround of evacuating waste from the city will now be longer. Then we have more backlog. There will be more outcry. And now there is a problem now. Rainy season is coming. If rainy season meets us with the way our backlog of waste are being displayed on the street, if water can now easily carry it from one street to another, the waste that are there, then we have more waterborne diseases, vermins, and all these things will now arise. So we should prepare now. If we go to our public health system, particularly our tertiary health system, they will tell you the cases of typhoid fever will now be increasing in Lagos. So we now have to prepare. So my own advice to state government is that we can, instead of total closure, while we are cleaning up that place, we can do regulatory dumping. That's what we call regulatory dumping. Ways that are very important to be dumped there, we can still quickly create an area. While closure is going on, we can still do regulatory dumping. It's still available. It's done all over the world. A closure announcement may have been made, but regulatory dumping will still continue. So that then when the final closure will now be done, we'll have known that alternative has been put in place. But right now, the alternative will be counterproductive. And that is Owelepe and Epe. So it will look as if the state government is not doing anything in terms of evacuation. And it's operational problem that is causing it. So I wish the state the best. I hope they will yield to advice that they should convene a stakeholder meeting, a stakeholder summit, for people to come and address this situation. I see the state being overwhelmed with the problem of waste management right now. If they have done their feasibility study very well, before they implement their operation, they will have advised the state government that this, and this are supposed to be in place before we roll out this principle. And what are things that are supposed to be in place? What they're supposed to do first is what they are not doing now. I told you they are like people, somebody want to build a house starting from the roof. Where is the foundation? If they have done their feasibility study, they will know that Lagos Island is generating this amount of waste. Victoria Island is doing this. Ikoyi is doing this. Mushin, all these are the quantity of waste they are generating. Where is the nearest transfer station we can take this waste to? They should know that transfer station is very important. It's germane. So that the waste generated in the city is being treated within the city. Then in the night, they can haul it to anywhere in the state. Nobody will see it. You understand? So they didn't do that. The transfer station they are even doing in Ilubiri, I've not even seen the kind of equipment they want to use there. There are some transfer station equipment, because transfer station is categorized into three: small, medium, and high. Small is maybe waste that's been taken there about 250 metric tons. Medium is between 500 and 1,000. Then high is between 1,000 metric tons upward. You understand? And there are some machine or equipment that you put there that reduce the volume of the waste, like compactors, then sorting. Then some even reduce the quantity of waste 99%. And that is incineration. And you use incineration where the generation quantity is far more than what you can dispose. So incineration will be installed in a city, and you take your waste there. It will reduce the volume of waste by 99%. So when you burn the waste, you only have 1% of the waste becoming ash. And you can take the ash to anywhere to go and landfill. So you can see the difference. So but in their own case, I don't know, it's the same system they met on ground. They are only doing a kind of, how will I say, fashion parade or just to a kind of yes, see, we are doing rehabilitation of this dump site. We are doing rehabilitation of this state-of-the-art equipment in the transfer station. Let us see what you want to put in place. It's not just to roll container, bring in transport, what do you mean, a vehicle that is waste management. There are other principles that is involved. The treatment, transfer, and disposal is very germane to the success of the program. So that's why I said the state has to look into the operation of Eastern Cape and advise them well that what are the machinery you are bringing, at what rate. Okay, let them tell us if they collect 13,000 tons of waste in Lagos today, how many do they have equipment for to recycle? How many do they have equipment for to biodegrade? That's the composting. How many do they have equipment for incineration? All they just have is take it from generation to transfer station. The same way loose waste is the one they are putting in the long trailer. Nobody is talking of reduction principle in the waste before they take it to the dump site. Now the problem will now be the dump site is now even further than where they used to dump. So we are having another problem.